Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip,
And I'm CJ.
and it is Wednesday in the Riv. And so we've got a few things to talk about. I guess Monday's show was created quite the buzz.
Yes, it did.
We have a little firestorm of Facebook warriors, creating, trying to stir the pot, which, as you know, we enjoy. You know,
Exactly.
no, we like lively debate, and we encourage it. We're not, we don't want everybody to agree. We like people when they disagree, and put forth their opinions, and then we will give them our opinion, and hopefully their opinion will be based in fact and not innuendo. But let
Right.
me let me I don't do Facebook basically, but I do get reports on the stuff, and apparently they want to have a debate and between uh, Paulo Amaral and Jordan, and wants to debate, and they're going to have city council debates, but I guess they want to go one on one. I guess this is kind of personal. And But there was another comment from someone that called Mr. Amaral a racist. And listen, as being since you and I have been the victim of these kind of slurs, and with no proof, or and we were taken off the air because of people fabricating these reports, like my life has been ruined with this report, when life wasn't ruined. You didn't lose your job. As a matter of fact, you were leaving your job. You made a full clarification of what was said, and it was never what was contended in that complaint that was said was never said, ever. If we do have a debate on this forum, I will tell you now, we're not going to take any kind of these slurs and calling people racist, misogynist. I don't care if you got the proof. Well, go file a complaint against them. If you think they are that, go file a federal complaint. There are anti-discrimination laws. That stuff it's too easy in today's society to destroy somebody with unfounded accusations, because this society does not give anybody due process. They use these inflammatory labels to damage somebody, and the damage is irreparable. Even if 80% find out it's untrue, there's still 20% that didn't, that they were unfounded. And we see that in politics every day. It's a standard tactic. Throw a mud ball at somebody, put it on a front page of the paper, and then a month later, when they prove it's totally unfounded, about 80% of the people who read the headline will never read the retraction, which will be on page 38. So I just wanted to go there before we even get into this, and I know you've got some stuff to say about it, but I'm not gonna allow that stuff in this forum. It's not gonna happen. We're not gonna be having people call, if they're a misogynist, go prove it. Take them to court, prove it. Not that there's a law actually against being a misogynist.
I was gonna say there's no law against being misogynist.
But there is a law against fundamentally being a racist, and it really technically it's not the way the law is interpreted. You can be a racist as long as you don't do anything to someone based on their race, and then it's a hate crime. So in reality, all these things are just bullshit. Just bullshit that people throw because they don't have a legitimate argument. If we do have a debate, or they do have a debate on any forum, let's hope both candidates say what their plan is for the city, how they differ from the other individual, because neither of these candidates have ever actually been in office. So everything they say is a promise. And promises, as we know in politics, are rarely kept. So let's see. So the reason you give them these forums is to let people see them and see who's more believable. So with that, CJ, take it over.
Well, one of the things I found interesting was a comment made by a former city councilor who said it would be a debate between the bought and the non-bought. And I guess that's because Paul Amaral serves on a board for the mayor. And a lot of people made comments about that. And again, that could be very detrimental to his campaign. There's also statements that, and one of them was made by a very good friend of ours, and we used to do his show, that said many of Paulo's votes should have went to Boomer. People didn't make the difference between Gabriel Boomer Amaral and Paul Amaral, which I find hard to believe. I don't think people are that stupid. But again, this is Fall River, and you never know. City Councilor Chris Peckham offered $50 to any venue that would have a debate. Chris, I'll take you up on the $50. That will pay for 2 months of our service.
We'll put it into our legal fund that is very slow and growing, so we can actually sue these people once in a while. But
right.
But you look, and I don't know who the former city councilor is, but I have to just interject this. He said he has had differences. He said he would be his own candidate. It's up to the people to make that decision. But do you know, I will point out that we had the same reservations about Michelle Dion, because Michelle Dion was on a board. We had the same reservations, but she has proven to be one of the most independent counselors I've ever seen. She's not afraid to be the lone voice for the people in the council. She has turned out to be an absolutely outstanding representative for the people of Fall River. And I don't agree with everything, but I'll tell you what, I agree with the courage and her character. She showed what she was made of when she got in that position. So there's always, to condemn somebody and say, I'm not going to give them the job. We are fortunate that she got elected, because she has done a yeoman's job for the people of Fall River. So all this thing is political. All this thing is political horse shit. Run on what you're going to do. Run on your platform. You're not, you are not the leader of the city. You are the funding source. You are the ways and means. Tell us, not only, don't just tell us, oh, I'm going to cut taxes. How? I'm going to increase public safety. What's your ideas? I will not support cuts in public safety. I will not support this or that. And as I said, a lot of these people are going to get my votes because this present council, is just a rubber stamp. They are not doing their job. They're malfeasant, in my opinion. They have a fiduciary obligation to spend our money correctly. And that is also a legal precedent. And I believe that Jordan still works in the legal field. So I have the case law, and I've sent it to the council, and they ignore it. As a matter of fact, that case law from Cornell University's Law Institute says that they actually obligated to have a critical eye and go deeper than just the figures that are submitted by whoever submits them, whether it's a company or a government, from the mayor. But that's the whole thing. Listen, you're 1 of 9, and as we know, if you're an advocate for the people, that's the whole point here. That's the whole point, that we're going to have this forum for as many candidates as want to come on and tell us those things. Because the reality is, Michelle Dion has fought, has brought up numbers, has asked pertinent questions. But when you're 1 and 9, you get outvoted all the time. She needs help. The people of Fall River need help. That's why we tell you to go there and vote and get the people out of the council who are not working for you. If they're part of the Coogan cabal and they've been a rubber stamp for everything, they don't belong there, because they were sworn to be your representative, your substitute and agent. And that is in the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, part of the first Articles 4 and 5. It's 4 says we are the government. 5 says that all government officials in every branch are at all times our substitutes and answerable to us, but they're not. And this is the only way we have to hold them accountable. And we're going to give everybody, we tell you all the time to do your homework. Well, we're going to help you do your homework, because we're going to get them on and we're going to let them tell you what they're going to do. And you can communicate with us online. You can send us questions early that you want asked to every counselor, and we will do everything we can to try to give them the opportunity to win your vote.
True. We got a comment from Jeff, who says that Michelle Dion should run for mayor next time. I don't think she wants the headache, but I think she'd make a great mayor. I really do. I think she'd make a great mayor. And it would be the first time in Fall River's history that we had a mayor that represents the people.
That's right.
And I mean, that's a scary thought.
And it would also be the first, I believe it's also the first female mayor, too.
It would be. So there'd be a lot of things that she could break through. You know, she could break that glass ceiling. And it's wonderful to make those comments about a city councilor like Michelle Dion and other people. But we want people that, number one, either want the job or know they have no other choice but to take the job. Okay? And there's a difference between it. You can want the job and don't care about doing the job. And then you can need to take the job because the job needs to get done and you want to do the job. And I think that's one of the most important things, is that not only do you want the job, but you want to do the job. And when you put those two things together, you can sometimes, or most times, get fair and balanced representation. Doesn't always happen that way, but it does happen at times. And, you know, we need that here in Fall River because we haven't had it in so long. And I think that the people are starting to look at it. There's already an uprising. I mean, you see it on Facebook, and I'm not going to say that Facebook is the be all end all, and it's going to be the predictor of the election or anything else. But Facebook is showing an undertone of people being fed up with this government, and with that, I believe they're reflecting the opinions of the people of Fall River. And with doing that, we may have an uprising against the current government, and we would need that. We really would need that.
No, you're right, and that's the that is, we need another 1995 when they bounce 5 of them. Except we need one better. We need to bounce maybe 7 or 8. But as you said, CJ, it's not about sitting in the seat and throwing bouquets at the mayor or whatever. It's about actually doing the job. And it gets back to that court case that said clearly, and you've sent numerous letters with documentation of things, as have I, that they totally ignore. And that court case clearly states that they are required, they have a fiduciary obligation as a legal fiduciary by law to look with a, and this is the quote, it's actually not my quotes, it's their quotes in the court opinion, a critical eye, and not just depend on what is given to them. Now, I know Michelle does her homework because she reads what we write, and she asks questions, and we do communicate with any counselor who calls us and asks questions. But they don't. Most of them don't. I sent the letter, and I got it right here before me. I just pulled it. I sent them a letter a month or so ago with the money we have saved on, with the healthcare premiums on, because we have always been running on the budget for years, but this is staggering. FY 20, 3,028,489 surplus. FY 21, 6,594,031. FY 22, 3,365,219. FY 23, I am getting the final figures as we speak because it takes time for the runoff claims and stuff. 6 months into FY 23, we were $3,426,156. These are not my numbers. These are the numbers from the company that actually does our healthcare. So they're absolutely dead accurate. So that means we had a surplus of 6 months into this year, which means we're going to have more. We're looking like a $6 million year. We have a surplus of $16,393,945. I asked the question, what's happened to all that money? Because we know there's not 16 million in the city's trust fund. Matter of fact, I remember one time Kathy Ann Viveris went up into the council. She was asked that question, I believe, by Michelle Dion. And her answer was we have $500,000. Yet the employees who are supposed to have 1/4 of what the city has, we had 9 million in our account. So do the math. They should have had 27 million, but you're not 27. You have to keep a cushion. But yeah, they're gonna divert some of it, but they divert all of it, all of it. And where's it gone? The magic money. It disappears. And there's no accountability. And that's what the city council is supposed to do. And I know that Nelson has gotten some numbers, and he had to really push them with public record requests. And I think that he's got his numbers almost completed. He's asked to come on our show, and we will have him on our show this month in the not too distant future. And I believe he's going to be on another show to go over those numbers. And he said those numbers are fairly staggering too. But we wonder why taxes always go up, why fees always go up, while everything goes up. Because our city council is malfeasant. Not all of them, but most of them. So they do not deserve another term. And some of them have had so many terms, you run out of fingers. But this is the whole key. This is why we want to hear from these people. Well, listen, we'll give them their shot. But I can tell you one thing. If they come on the show, I'm going to ask them why, when you send a letter and I send a letter, half the time they don't even read it into the record because they didn't even want these numbers to go public. Just as they've done with your letters. So this is it. And, this is why we're going to give this forum, and it's great. Now, not to be, I see, oh, good. You're doing pretty good with this new forum, CJ. You get it? Good. Yeah, you're right, Jeff. We should actually have a type E charter. CJ and I have agreed. We should eliminate the position of mayor and make it ceremonial like they do in Worcester. Hire a city manager who isn't a politician. He's a manager. And if he doesn't manage the city, you kick him to the curb and get another one. The mayor in Worcester is a ceremonial position. A city councilor gets, I think, an extra 20 grand for being the ribbon cutter. And you're right. And this is the problem. We have no accountability for our finances, and they don't do their homework. Like you said, CJ, they show up, they never do. And listen, I'm not hearing it that the job gives them, they're not running a multinational company. They show up at the council meeting and they've never even read half the stuff that they've got on the agenda till they show up. And we send a citizens input in early, and it's got to be short and brief. They never read they don't do their homework. There is no excuse, because they've proven they're not really our representatives. They're just politicians. Hey, I like that new thing. You even got Jeff's picture up there.
Hey, I mean, I'm learning,
Hey, we got stuff we never had over there at the Gulag, where you don't have any rights, no First Amendment rights.
It's amazing what we can do. And I see them pop up on the screen, and then I said, how can I get this on the screen? And it says show. So I said, okay, I put it in. There it was.
Beautiful.
Gotta follow the instructions. And it's nice to be able to have an interactive show. It's nice to be able to have people make comments and bring them out so that their voice can be heard too. And I think that's very important. Let's get on to some issues that we had reported this week.
Yes.
The old Atlantis Charter School.
Yeah. Another sweetheart deal. I've never in my life seen transactions based on other transactions. Malacone sold the building to John Ferreira if John Ferreira could rent the building or sell the building to the city of Fall River. So the city of Fall River, through the school department, agreed to rent the building from the Redevelopment Authority, who bought the building from John Ferreira, who bought the building from Malacone. He bought it from Malacone for $1.5 million, I think. I mean, no. Malacone bought the building for $1.5 million. John Ferreira bought it for $3.5 million. And the Redevelopment Authority bought it for $7.5 million. And every one of these transactions was contingent upon the next transaction. Which is fundamentally illegal, because you can't do that. Now you got a guy that says, look, you buy it or you don't buy it. You're gonna predicate it on them being able to rent it or do something. So are you getting a kickback? And not that Malacone doesn't have a checkered past. So let's make that perfectly clear. Oh, okay, we got Carlos. Let's see. Yeah, well, they look. They don't disclose anything, Caesar. Again, but these building, I'll sell it to you if you sell it to my friend, and you got to rent it. So how much rent are we paying, CJ? You know what that number is. So they bought the building for $3-something million, and we're paying how much?
No, we bought the building for the redevelopment bought it for $7 million.
Hey, listen, the Redevelopment Authority. You know what the Redevelopment Authority?
Yes, I do.
It's the phantom arm of the city.
Right. Because they're not subject to 30A requirements. They can just buy and sell and do all of that without any restrictions. And I think that's unfair to the people, and I think it's unfair to the city. And I think the people on the Redevelopment Authority represent the mayor. They don't represent anyone else but the mayor and Ken Fiola. That's who they represent.
Who used to run the RDA, by the
who
way?
used to run the and I believe he's back at running the RDA.
Probably. No, but
but
that's not a conflict of interest, is it?
no. Now the deal on the purchase of this building is that at the end of 3 years, I think it is, because I guess the city's going to be paying them either $300,000 or $3 million a year for the rental on the building, or $300,000 a month, or whatever it may be.
Yeah, which is basically what they paid for the building.
Right. What's going to happen is at the end of 2 or 3 years, the RDA is going to sell it back to the city for $1.
Yeah.
After we paid the loan. After we paid the loan, we're the ones that are going to pay. The city's going to pay it without going through the 30A process.
Yeah. After they got a 200% profit, because $300,000 a month is basically more than, it's like $3.6 million a year. So they're going to get more than the cost of the building that the RDA, who is, remember, hooked up with Viola. How much money is this guy going to make, and from how many angles? So they're going to get the price in the first year, then rent it for another year or possibly 2 years. So now they're going to get 100% or 200% profit for having it basically babysitting the building. So then Paul's going to say, what a great deal. We're getting the building for $1. No, we're not. We're going to pay almost $10 million for 3 years for that building.
The school department has already prepaid $3 million in rent for the Atlantis Charter School. If they pay $3 million a year for that building and they got to go 2 years, that's $6 million. $3 million prepaid rent to the RDA puts that money right back into their coffers, and they don't have to worry about not having money to do other projects.
Geez, I wonder how many offshore accounts these guys have got. I know Biden supposedly has a few. I mean, this is more complicated. I can't even, I can follow Biden's machinations with the 20 phone calls and Burisma and Bobolinsky and everything else. I mean, that's clearer than this stuff. I've never seen such a shell game in all my life. But remember, the people involved in the shell game are always the same people. How many years ago did we see the article about Malacone and his ties to crime? And he's still around. Doesn't matter. Once they get in, once they join the club, they get there, they can go to the cigar bar, puff on their stogies, and laugh at the people of Fall River, because our council has, again, got their head up their derriere.
Well, here's an interesting fact on this purchase. The Redevelopment Authority approved the purchase of the building on South Main Street for $7.5 million, plus 4% interest to rent the property to the school department and a lease to purchase opportunity. So not only are we leasing the building, we're paying for the building and the building's interest.
Yeah.
4% interest on it.
Well, listen, it just doesn't get any more corrupt than this. Where the hell's the FBI? This is basically a RICO violation.
Right.
I mean, these guys are in collusion up to their eyeballs. I mean, it just never stops. They buy buildings for $1, they sell them for $1 million. You buy them for $1 million, but then you got to guarantee them you're going to pay them that $1 million back plus interest by renting the building.
Right.
Boy, I wish I could get a deal like that. Yeah, I'm going to sell you my house, but now you got to guarantee me you're going to pay me triple the price of my house in rent. So, and then I'm going to get the other owner's going to kick back. I'll tell you, it's disgraceful. It's disgraceful. Yeah. You're right. You're right. And good, I'm glad we could put shit up on the air. We're off PCC. Good. I love it. And remember, the big news of today, Coogan's got a horseshoe up his ass. I never saw anybody walk into office and get so much federal money Now we've been declared a disaster area.
Right.
More federal money for him to blow. It's amazing. Bristol County has been declared, you can tell it's an election year, that Dems know how to get votes. They just throw money at everything. Oh, more money. We've been at flooding. But where was that flooding really disastrous? It was in Western Massachusetts. That's where the most damage in Massachusetts and Bristol. That's not even Bristol County, number one. But Western Mass sustained a lot of damage there. It's actually, I don't know if most people from Fall River never go to Western Mass. It's very rural. Western Mass up around Williamstown is right on it's on the New York and the Vermont border. You're only a few miles away from New York State, upstate New York and Vermont. It's very rural. They have farmlands there, and they have, they actually have it. I think they have a deer farm up there too. But they sustained a lot of water damage and stuff like that from some torrential rains and stuff like that. And listen, yeah, we got some damage, but nothing. I've seen worse. I mean, Stafford Square's been getting flooded since Fall River was Fall River. So I didn't see anything drastically different. I remember years ago, we had one rainstorm that Globe Street was flooded, and that's very rare. And I was on duty that day. We couldn't even take the car out. You had to go on the engine because it was higher. And but listen, I never saw anything. I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen anybody get such an influx of free money. And then let's see if he can misappropriate and misuse this money as well as he did with the ARPA money.
Well, with the ARPA money, the city council abdicated its responsibility because the mayor sends everything down to the city council with the council grants the mayor to receive and expend the money, the grant money, or the money that the city council accepts. And not one of them, except for Michelle Dion, fights that. They all say, oh no, let the mayor expend it. That's no big deal. This way it doesn't have to come back to us. It's supposed to come back to them. That's their job. That's their responsibility. Okay? And until the 9 city councilors grow a set of balls and turn around and say, we are not going to vote for accepting this money, regardless of the time limit, until you send it down here without the approval to accept it, and we approve the expending of the money. That's the way it should be. Like it or not, that's the way it should be. Ooh,
well,
I'm getting heated.
Heaven forbid, CJ, that they actually do their job. Send it back to us. Remember, we have a council, and look at, like I said, nobody ever died of overwork on a city council. They get 2 meetings
that's
a
for
month,
sure.
2 meetings a month, and 1 meeting during the period, and 2 meetings a month, and they have a couple of committee meetings that last. And then if they last too long, how often have you seen some of them complain?
Right.
This meeting's lasting too long. Let's just vote for everything and get the hell out of here. We got to go get some drinks somewhere. We don't want to do this. We don't want to do this.
How about the city councilor who knows there's a meeting coming up and requests that they change the meeting date so they can go on vacation again? Or they miss a meeting because they're on vacation. This happens all the time. Every year, annually, and the city council president kisses that city councilor's ass and says, okay, we're going to change the date for you. Okay? And that's not the way it works. You know the dates of the meetings. Therefore,
you're right.
Schedule accordingly.
You're right. And just like people with a regular job, they either get their vacation. Some places just take their vacation at a specific time every year. Other places rotate their vacation schedules, like we did on a fire pot. You pick by seniority, and you had your vacation, and that was it. If you wanted Christmas off, you took Christmas vacation week if you had enough seniority. because you knew that if you were working on Christmas, they weren't gonna say, okay, we're gonna shut down a fire department today because you want Christmas off. They know where their meetings are, and it's absolute bullshit with what they do. It's a club. They are not representatives of the people. It's a club. And Jeff again had a very good comment. And it's disturbing that we've allowed this to happen by not voting these people out. Let me see this.
Of course he will. And the city council will be voting yes on anything that he brings down because they kiss his ass. And that is the problem we have in this city. And I'm sick and tired of it. We need changes. We need new faces. Well, I'm glad that Jeff agrees with us. We need new faces.
Well, listen, I mean, I guess if you look, I can understand why his people don't agree with us, CJ and Jeff. I understand. If I got a $22,000 pay raise, I wouldn't give a shit either.
That's right.
I wouldn't care if my taxes went up a couple thousand. I just got a $22,000 pay raise on a pay that's already about triple what the average person in Fall River is making. Yeah, I wouldn't care either. If I just sold a building for $2,000 that the taxpayers put $4,000 into, I wouldn't give a shit either. Of course they don't care, because they are they're connected, and they, look at, sell it only under these conditions. You put your house up for sale and you want a price, you sell it. If you put a whole bunch of conditions on it, you may never sell it, because you what are you going to say? I can only sell it to a politically connected person who will then make sure that every one of my relatives gets a job, and I will get some kind of board. But hey, that's what we've got. And it's like I said, you and I vote in every election, final election, not primary, because the super voter primaries, I'm not on that list because I don't vote in primaries. I will vote in this primary, obviously. It's a local primary, but a lot of federal primaries I don't vote in because I'm neither a Republican or a Democrat. But it's the people's fault. They don't get out. And let's hope there is a groundswell. Let's hope there are more people like Jeff who are going to be getting in. Hey, Goodwood, Jeff. I like that. Yeah. But hey, we have no time limit now. We can go a little over, and I think it's worthwhile because we're talking about some serious stuff here. I mean, you're talking about taxpayer money. They know no bounds on how they're going to rape the taxpayer. They just don't care. They just don't care. And they never, ever give them a dime back.
That's
ever.
Right.
And that's what really gets me. So, hey, we are a disaster area long before we got the rain.
That's for sure. That's for sure.
So,
that definitely is for sure.
Well, let's wrap it up.
I think it's time to wrap it up. I want to thank you all for watching, and remember, stay safe, stay angry, and hold your politicians accountable. And thanks for all the input from our viewers. Have a great day, and we'll see you on Friday.